Now, if any of you come to my weekly sessions or watch the recordings of my sessions, you know I'm a big fan of dissecting the feedback guide, because the feedback guide is how you're going to be assessed in this case, and you have to understand the process for assessment. So when we're looking at the feedback guide, we start out with the assessment opportunities, and the assessment opportunities basically replicate what we saw as far as the issues in the case. And from there, the assessment opportunities, you have what's called minimum proficiency indicators, MPIs. And the MPIs build towards competency, but you're not expected to get a perfect response. So when we look at the first one, which is the deposit fee revenue, we highlight what the definition of competency is. The candidate discusses the issue related to deposit fees, performs a reasonable analysis of the issue using revenue recognition criteria, and concludes on the appropriate treatment. So to get to competent on this, you would identify the financial reporting issue and explain why it's an issue, analyze the 3 criteria, performance, measurement, collection, and then recommend when revenue is recognized. And this is consistent with every practice case that we've done so far. And with that, the competent would be MPIs 1 and then 3 to 6. To get RC would be any 3 MPIs, and then CD would be all of the MPIs. Now, again, your goal is to get C, not RC, not CD. So you need to land on that C when you're doing your practices. For the tire replacement, the candidate discusses the issues related to the tire replacement and provides a reasonable analysis of the replacement in context of the betterment. The candidate concludes on the appropriate treatment. So to get the competent on that, the MPI 1, which is identify the financial reporting issue, MPI 2, analyze the definition of the betterment in relation to case facts. MPI 3 recommends if the repair is a betterment consistent with analysis. So to get to competent, we need MPIs 1 to 3 with an adjustment, of course. RC is any 2 MPIs, and CD are all of the MPIs. AO3, which is the lawsuit, the candidate discusses the issues related to the lawsuit, provides a reasonable analysis of the issues, and concludes on the appropriate treatment. So to get to competent on this, we have to identify the financial reporting issue, then analyze the criteria for contingent liability. So is it likely? Is it reasonably estimated or measurable? And then recommends whether the contingent liability should be recorded with now consistent with analysis. To get to competent, MPIs 1 to 4, of course, with an adjustment in the conclusion. RC would be any 2 MPIs, and CD would be all MPIs. Excuse me. For the control weaknesses discussion, so there's 4 possible ones that you can discuss. So you have the data collection channels, manual data entry, calendar bookings, and payment process. With that, you need to identify the weakness, discuss the implication, provide a recommendation using case facts. So to get to competent, the candidate discusses several related weaknesses related to the data collection and storage and provides valid recommendations. So C for that, we believe it would be 3 MPIs, RC would be 2 MPIs, and CD would be all 4 of the MPIs. Finally, for taxation, with corporate taxes payable, the calculation here, candidate calculates taxes payable by incorporating some adjustments. So number 9, which is the calculation of taxes payable, is absolutely essential. But any 5 MPIs plus the conclusion, MPI 9, actually completing the calculation, would be considered competent for this. Reaching competent, any 3 MPIs, and then CD would be all of them. So again, it's very important that you debrief the feedback guide after you do a practice case, because that determines how you're going to be assessed in the exam. When we're exam markers, we essentially just go down, read the candidate's response, yes, 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 and then no, and then we say, yes, that's C. That's exactly what we do in exam, and that's how your exam will be marked as well.
They said, is there always the same number of points for each assessment opportunity?
No, there's not. So it depends on the exam. It depends on the complexity of the issues in the exam and the weighting of the issues. So again, we're not given any details of that. The exam passing profile is determined by the Board of Examiners. What happens is the markers simply report back, yes, no, C, and then the Board of Examiners determines who passes and who fails based on the reported data.
Yeah,
Okay.
lots of questions on the exam marking. Do I need
Hmm.
competent to pass? Can I have some RCs? Um, is the core one exam curved? So we do have a lot of questions on that, and so
Well,
just a blanket
again,
response. Yeah.
we can't respond to it. Unfortunately, that's we would love to, but yeah, we're not allowed to. And when I was reading the case, I thought that we'd need to do an adjusted financial statement to give the bank. Any thoughts on this? They would specifically ask you for the adjusted financial statement. So if you see back in our previous cases, for example, Unit 5 case with print shop, Jeannie's professional print shop, they specifically said, please revise the financial statement or the income statement, and you do not need to provide a balance sheet. They'll be very directed in Core 1. So read it as you see it. Don't make things up. I think that's my piece of advice for you. Are there any benefits achieving CD on an AO? A CD does not negate a lower mark somewhere else. So our recommendation as facilitators is that you aim to get competency across the board. If you get CD on something, you may have spent too much time at the expense of a further issue down that you may not have done as well.